person. I was just an average girl, you know, in my life, just doing normal stuff, and God has just sowed seeds throughout my life that have kind of put me in the right place at the right time so God can use me. And that was His plan. I can honestly say this was not my plan. My life, my picture of my life was not what it is today. But actually things are okay. I love what I do, so it's not a bad thing. Anyway, so I am married to Simon, up there, and we've been married for 20 years. I've actually known him for 30 years. I met him when I was 14, and he's amazing. He is a mighty man of God, and he encourages me every day. He's incredible. And then we made these two amazing children, Ali and Lottie. And they're both incredible, and actually I learn every day from my children, and I'm sure those of you that have kids will as well. You know, our kids can teach us so much, so it's an absolute honour to be a parent to those amazing girls. Okay, I think we need to move on. So, my Foodbank story actually starts probably in 2004, where God put me in a position to work for a charity called Smile International. And Smile International took me to Kosovo. And that was where I first experienced poverty. And I saw poverty in a way that I'd never seen it in the UK before. There were children out there in the winter who, I think you can see, you can't see, the second child in from the left has bare feet, okay, and that's in the snow. In this country, when our kids go out in the winter, we kind of pad them out, and they kind of walk around, you know, so many layers on. So out there I saw that these kids didn't actually have the layers, they only had what they stood in, and I think that was the beginning of my journey to understand that there's a lot of need out there. And I had a real heart for these people, but I came home and kind of got back into my life over here, as you do, and carried on. And then, next slide, 2005, Simon and I took our girls and went with a team to Hungary, where we worked on a project called Canaan House. And this was a project, we were renovating this really old, dilapidated house for young mummies who just had babies, because in that country, if you get pregnant and you're in a family, they will kick you out if you're not married. And that was really sad. So again, what I learned on this project was that as a team, you can achieve so much. So at the beginning of the week, they showed us the frontage of this house, and they said, all that yellow render needs to come off. Now, if that had been me on my own, I'd have probably got the bit under the window done. I mean, it was 40-degree heat, it wasn't, you know, easy. But as a team, we achieved so much, and by getting all that render off the front, they gave us the next job, which was shoveling all the sewage in the basement, which wasn't pleasant in that heat. But you know, again, as a team, we got a lot done, and yeah, God kind of gave me a heart then for helping people that needed help. Okay, next slide. So in 2008, Simon and I took the kids, our two children, to Mozambique, and again we saw, I think this was an extreme level of poverty that I hadn't witnessed before. And when you see people in need, it just touches your heart. And I think if you've ever been to Africa, there's something about Africa, just it smells amazing. And the children out there are so happy. I think, you know, over here, children have such a high need. It's like we think they need toys, and we think they need so much, but actually out there, these kids had nothing, but they were happy. And the ones that loved Jesus were really happy. And again, I learned from my children. My children's hearts and their compassion was extraordinary. And we were working, we were feeding kids that were living on the village, that would come into the site, and we just fed them beans and rice every day. And Simon was teaching the pastors that were there, that were living out in the bush, and they'd come in and spend time for about 3 months on the site, and he would teach them about the Bible. And it was just such an amazing experience that God put us in, but I didn't really know why I was there. If we go on to the next slide, which is the picture that was there before, these two boys live on a rubbish dump. And when we visited the rubbish dump, I kind of think this is probably the most extreme level of poverty I've ever witnessed. I was down with Alison praying with some kids in the church there, doing what we were doing. Lottie and Simon went up onto the top of the mountain of rubbish. I mean, she would probably tell the story better than me, but when they were up there, there were loads of little children running around, and Lottie was just covered with children, you know what I mean? And she found a leg. There was a human leg up there, and because all the hospital stuff that the hospital doesn't want. They don't have incinerators or anything like that. It just gets put in the rubbish dump. So on one point you've got this human leg, and then on the other side there's this older lady who's down in the dirt and she's picking up things. And Simon said he went over to see what she was doing, and she was picking out beans. She found beans and she was literally picking them out one by one and rubbing them between her fingers to kind of rub off the dirt. And that was what that lady was going to eat that day. Anyway, so Mozambique taught me a lot. It still touches me because it taught me to love one at a time. I think that it's such a mammoth thing, isn't it? Helping the world, and there's so much need out there, and every time you put the news on, people are struggling. But actually, if you stop for the one, you can all do that. You can all stop for one person that needs help, and that will make a difference to that one person. So, I could go on and on about Mozambique, but I won't. So, next slide. Right, the Trussell Trust. So, I'd never heard of the Trussell Trust, and when we moved to the Isle of Wight in 2009, my husband came over here as a youth worker, and I worked with him for a year and a half, and I was thinking, I don't really like doing this. I love children. It wasn't kind of my thing, you know. And I kind of felt like buy one, get one free. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I felt like he was the paid youth worker, and I was like the free bit on the side that was doing all the admin and stuff, which wasn't fun. Anyway, so then I thought, right, I need to get a job. We need a bit more money for the family, so I tried to get a job. Couldn't get a job. And then this guy called Charlie Hancock turned up on our doorstep. He's a friend of Simon's, and he turned up and he said, I've got an idea. I've heard of this thing called the Trussell Trust. Thank you. And he said, I think the island needs a food bank. I was not interested. I thought, no, I've got my own children, I've got my own agenda, I don't need help doing something like that. He said, I really think the island needs a food bank. So I looked into it with him, and the Trussell Trust had established quite a few food banks in that time. Excuse me. Thank you. And so, yeah, Charlie was like, I really need someone to put the project together, and I really think it's you. I was like, no, not interested. So he came back for a coffee the following week and went, I really think it's important that we do this as a church. Really think you can do it. Can you come round? I've found a warehouse. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I can't do this. The warehouse is massive. I literally turn up at this warehouse. It's 6,000 square foot. You can fit 15 double-decker buses in it. And he thinks we're going to run a food bank out of this space. Sorry, I've got really dry throat. So, the seed had been sown in my church. My church had a cupboard. Charlie's original vision was for Food Bank to work out of a cupboard. When we looked at the Isle of Wight, we kind of figured God had drawn a line around the island. We couldn't just feed people and cows. We had to feed the whole of the island. So from one church cupboard, it went to this warehouse. Can we go to the next slide? It was filthy. The dust, the thick black dust was everywhere. The rubbish was everywhere, broken glass. It was dark. It kind of didn't give me a lot of hope. But we cleaned it up. Okay. And we built an office. So for me, my food bank journey kind of started in a very big empty warehouse with this kind of box of an office that we built. And I felt really lonely. I knew that God wanted me to do it because Charlie had said, you know, I really think that this you could do this, and I kind of prayed about it, and God had said, yeah, I really want you to do it. But I wasn't paid. It wasn't a paid job. I was volunteering. And I sat in that office for about 4 months trying to set up the project, and I did feel lonely. And I kept having to pray and say, you know, I can't do this on my own. I really need help. And I started sending out these orange boxes to churches and saying, hi, would you like to collect some food? We've got this new project called the Food Bank. Can you support it? And the food started to come in. Go back one. That picture on the left is my warehouse with my first donation of food. I'd love to do a stock take of that amount of food. It wasn't much. Big space, not a lot going on inside. But for me, I sat in that office on my own for hours and hours trying to learn this operating manual that Trusted Centres, thinking, okay, God, you've got to help me here. And somehow, I have this island to feed, and I don't know how I'm going to do it. Okay, next slide. So look, the shelves start to fill up. That was exciting. So then it got to a point where the food starts coming in, and I'm thinking, I've got no way of getting it out. I'm not ready yet. So I had to set up these food banks, and we've set up 7 on the island in places that we felt needed them. But to get more food in, we had to do supermarket collections. So I don't know if in the early days you would have seen us working in the supermarkets, but we would go in on a Saturday, set up the table, hand out shopping lists and say, if you could just give 1 item of food, that's all you need to give. You know, like we buy one, get one free again, you could give us the free one, it wouldn't make a difference. So that's how we started to stock our shelves. And there's Charlie at the bottom pointing at the sign. I thought I had a huge sign made. When you put it in the warehouse, it kind of looked a bit small. So, next slide, Martin. Here you go. So this is where the 7 centres ended up. They're all in the areas that we felt were most in need on the island. And they're all linked with churches, because the food bank is a Christian charity. And the great thing is that the churches then take on board the running of the food bank, as did this one. This food bank here is probably our busiest, always has been. And those of you that volunteer here have been a part of this since the beginning. I want you to know what an encouragement you've been to me. Because without you guys coming on board and helping me, my vision would have stayed on my own in that office, not getting the food out. So it was amazing. I love this place. Oh look. Is there anyone there you recognise? One of my first teams. Incredible. Incredible. Early days. So in my first year with Foodbank, working on my own for a bit and then getting people on board, at the end of that 12 months we went into the Community Action Awards and we won. We won first prize. I couldn't believe it. Absolutely astounded. And that's Corinne and Charlie with me, and we were overall winners. And that was quite an accolade because I felt that, you know, God had really honoured that first year with Foodbank. And I didn't know that Foodbank would still be around even another 12 months later. I just kind of thought, I'll do what I do now, and I'll take each month as it comes, and I'll see how it goes. So 12 months in, and we win an award. That was nice. Wow. Then we thought we'd put on an event, and we did a trolley push. Someone even dressed up as a banana. It was an amazing event. We went around the island pushing a trolley called Phil. Get it? Phil on the trolley. It came over on the hovercraft. It had actually travelled around the UK following different food banks. When it came here, it had to divide itself because we needed 3. So I know that this team from this church had one. I think that's in top right hand side. You went up and went all around Newport and visited all the shops and the businesses, and I think you were handing out free Smarties or something. Yeah? You remember that? What this really showed me was that I wasn't on my own. This showed me that there were so many other people wanting to volunteer and be a part of what I was doing. And I still find that today amazing, that God can put other people in my life that kind of catch my vision and want to do what I'm doing. That's really amazing. So yeah, trolley push was fun, and what the trolley push really did was to build the awareness of Foodbank on the island, which has got to be a good thing for everyone that needs our help. Okay. The van. Has anyone seen my Foodbank? Very proud of it. So the story of the van is that Paul knows all about this because Paul's my driver. I had a blue van. It was quite old, and 1 minute. My blue van. I was driving it to do a talk one night. It was quite a posh talk, up a simple. Got in the van, drove it over to Shanklin. Halfway there, the exhaust fell off. Didn't actually fall off, but it just fell apart. So it sounded like I was driving a tank. I was a little bit embarrassed. And so I went in and I did the presentation, and as I was leaving I was really like, bye, thanks, I'm going now. And they were like, no, we'll walk you to your car. So I kind of got to the van, And I said, it's fine, you can go now, I'm just going to make a few phone calls before leaving. And I literally drove all the way back from Shankill with the exhaust hanging off. It wasn't a great thing, it was a little bit embarrassing, but it was dark and no one could see who it was. And it didn't say Foodbank on it, so I kind of got away with it. But literally, within about a month, I went down to the co-op in Cowes, and the manager there had done some stuff with me beforehand to do with Foodbank. And he came running up to me and he said, Hannah, I've got some really good news. Because you know the co-op do this community funding thing, when they say they've got a co-op card. And he said, we've got some funding, we'd like to give it to you. I was thinking, that's very nice, thank you very much, maybe £500, brilliant. He said, I've got £13,000 to give you, I want you to get a new van. Now that's a good thing, isn't it? I mean, I was blown away. I only went to buy a packet of bacon. And the manager was actually in tears telling me his extraordinarily happy news that he could give this to me. And my husband's sort of standing there thinking, why is this man hugging Hannah? What's going on? I mean, it was just such a moment in the shop because I was amazed because that just doesn't happen. And also it was beautiful to see how this guy, the manager, was just so full of joy to be able to offer that to the food bank. So now we've got this nice, new, bright, white, shiny van. And Holmes did a great deal, and then someone else did the sign writing for us. So it's incredible how we are just so blessed. Cool, okay. Some of you might have seen these on the left. This is my textile bin. You can't really see it in this light, but it stands about this high, cardboard bin. The idea is that people recycle their textiles in it. I happen to know for a fact you can fit a 16-year-old boy in one of these. We saw him dive in.
I thought you'd received some.
No, we received any. Oh, thank you, that's better. So yeah, basically the Isle of Wight Food Bank, we needed to look at how we could be more sustainable because we have no major funding, we have no funding at all, and all the money that we get coming in is literally from people just generously giving. So how can we provide some form of sustainability? Textile recycling is the way to go, so we ask people to give us their unworn or nearly new clothes, shoes, etc. And we either sell them in our little shop or we recycle and we get 40p a kilo. So it's a win-win for us. And we, in the warehouse, we packed it out with 6 marquees. So I've got this big empty warehouse, filled it with marquees because it leaked. Every time it rained, the rain would come in different places, I'd run around with buckets. So the marquees meant we had somewhere dry to put the clothing. So we're now looking at probably the end of 2013. So it's been a year and a half, no, 2.5 years we've been going. Everything had kind of picked up a speed. So we had a lot of food coming in, we had a lot of food going out, we had textiles on, we had these 6 tents, I had lots of volunteers on board. Everything was kind of going really, really well. And then we started doing work with the toy appeal, and they gave us toys to give out in our food banks, and everything was kind of getting to this really high level. And then on the 7th of December 2013, I had a phone call. And it was from the landlord of the warehouse. And the agreement had been that the warehouse was free for me and Foodbank up until the day he sold it, because it had been on the market for years. And I just kept thinking, okay, God, if you want me there, you're not going to sell it. And it hadn't sold for 2.5 years. And I was like, this is great, God, brilliant, free. And suddenly, that day in December, he rang and said, I've sold it, you've got 6 weeks to get out. Gulp. I had 6 marquees. I had 12 or 13 tons of food. It was just crazy. And at Christmas, you know, that's our busiest time of year. It was just really, really, timing was not great. I think when I'm feeling most under pressure, that's when I pray more. It shouldn't be that way, but that's how it works for me. So, boy, did I pray. And I went to the council and I'm like, okay, I really, really need help. I really need a new home. And they were showing me new places that they were willing to give me. They showed me a garage, like one single garage. And they showed me a lovely unit up on Dodner, which was the size of maybe 2 garages. And I said, I don't really think you totally understand the space that I really need. And then this guy said, oh, there is one other place. It's an empty old primary school. And I'm thinking, rooms. Rooms. He took me up there, loads of rooms. Love Lane Primary School, it was sitting empty, and literally I got the keys within 7 days. Now that's a good thing, because the council don't give you keys that quickly. And I got in on a quick term agreement, and next slide, So January came, and I'd actually been given a little bit more time than the 6 weeks, so we planned the move. I mean, have any of you ever moved home? How difficult is it to box up your house? Do you all leave it till the last minute? Do you all have boxes that you haven't quite filled until that day? Yeah, it was a bit like that. So we had Steve Porter Transport, because he's one of my trustees, very handy. He gave us a lorry with some drivers, and we moved the whole food bank in a day. It was phenomenal. So picture top left is the old place under the marquees, trying to bag everything up and put it in the van. Top right, the new food bank up at Love Lane Primary School. We have windows. Now my husband said I shouldn't talk about the windows, no one would understand, but I have to talk about the windows because to me it's important. The old food bank, that old drafty, cold warehouse was dark. So all those years I was working in there with everybody else, it was dark. To go somewhere with windows and have daylight lifted my spirits. And I think it lifted all the volunteer spirits, yeah? Everyone seems happier now, we're working up there, and we've got so much room. If you go to the next slide. This is our storage room. So we've now got a whole school hall, plus the cupboards that are next to the school hall. We've got like a tea and biscuit cupboard, we've got an extras cupboard. The space has made such a difference, and the blessing of having the space means we can work more effectively, and more volunteers can come on board, and we can work together. So it's all good fun. Oh my goodness. Then, this is a real highlight for me. The Countess of Wessex came. Again, it was, you know, I love the royal family, I think they're amazing. Never thought I'd meet one. They asked, the Lord Lieutenant on the Isle of Wight literally phoned me up and said, someone from the royal family wants to come and visit your food bank. Wow. It was amazing. So it meant we had to paint everywhere. Clean everywhere, make sure the loot was nice, you know. It was all hands on deck, but you know, that was quite a lot of fun. And I loved it because it meant, I felt it blessed the volunteers. I think it blessed all of us as we felt that, again, it was a sort of well done stamp on what we were doing, and God was kind of saying, you're worth visiting, what you're doing, not what I'm doing, but what Foodbank is doing. You know, it's got a good stamp on it. And she was incredible. She was such a lovely lady, and she was actually genuinely interested in what we were doing. So I just thought it was quite interesting for you to see the growth that Foodbank has seen since we started. It's all down to God. It's nothing to do with me. It's a little bit to do with the volunteers because you guys work so hard. But you know, it's all down to God. He's got to get all the glory because there's no way we could feed this amount of people without him. Our first Christmas, we fed over 500 people. That was quite a leap because in the October we fed 57, and I remember thinking, gosh, I fed 57 people this month. How am I going to manage next month? We went from 57 in October to over 500 in December. The following December, a little bit higher, 550. Then we had the bedroom tax, that high peak next to it, bedroom tax came in. That affected us quite highly. The following December, 750 people. That's a lot of mouths to feed at Christmas. And then last year it went down a fraction, down to just about 700. So we're still feeding a lot of people. We still need support. And I was hoping that there would be no need for Foodbank when I started in 5 years' time. I kind of set myself this target of, it's a 5-year project, Hannah, you can get this done, we're going to sort out property on the Isle of Wight, and we won't have to do this anymore. I was really wrong, because I don't think in 6 months' time we'll be closing. I actually think there's a huge need on the island, and the more I see it, the more it saddens me, but I'm excited that we can make a difference. And that takes me back to that love the one in front of you that I really learned in Mozambique. You don't have to think that you can make a difference to the whole of Newport, or the whole of Shankin, or the whole of Sandown, or the whole of the Isle of Wight. Because if I thought that, I think I'd be, what's the word? I'd feel overwhelmed and probably unable to do it. But if I think about loving that one person that walks in the door, just one at a time, and yes, I've got enough food for that one person, you can all do that, we can all do that. We can all love that one person at a time. So, exciting projects this year have been for me the relocation of the Cows Food Bank. So it used to be in St Andrew's Hall, which is my church down by the floating bridge, but we've moved it up to the Love Lane site because it makes a lot of sense. And we've got a tea room, and it's now open 3 mornings a week as a community cafe. It only opened 2 weeks ago. And the idea is that, you know, it's a bit like when you run the food bank here, open to the public. The clients will come and pick up their food there as well. But it is open to all of you to come and visit as well, as the textile sale or the recycling centre is next door. It's all part of it, so you can come and do a bit of shopping.